All right, guys. So I left off in the last movie where we just finished this form add member. We did the setting up the date values. So now if you look at page 502, we're going to work on changing the background color and the special effects for this this form. All right, so we need to be in layout view, so make sure you're in layout view. And one of the ways you can tell is when you're clicking on things, you get the orange, right? And it doesn't look like this. You get the orange when you look like, but that's very apparent you're not in layout view. So layout. So we want to select the detail section. So I want the orange box around here, and the way that you can validate that you have the right thing selected is when you're looking at the property sheet right here, it tells you what section or what item. So like if I click here, do you see it changes? It's a text box, member ID. If I click back out here, it's this box, it's the detail section. So section detail. So we want to make sure you have that because we want to change the background for all of this. So now in the property sheet, we want to click format right here and background color. We're going to click on that, and you notice it brings up the down arrow and the ellipses. We're going to use the builder, so I'm going to do that, and it brings up some color palettes. We want to select white, background 1, darker 15. So it's that light gray right there. I'm going to click on that. Do you see now the entire background is there? So now what I want to do is select the member ID field, the bound control, that's this, so it's text box, member ID, validate it, and then we're going to do a special effect. So we're still on format. We're going to come down here to special effect. Right now it's set to flat, but we want it to be sunken, so I'm going to use the down arrow and pick sunken. It's going to change how that looks. We're also going to change the background color for this object, so we're going to go to back color. We're going to use the ellipse to get our palette, and then we're going to do that same white, background 1, darker 15, so it kind of fades into the background. Then we're going to pick the member name field. So here we just validate it, text box, member name. We're going to do the special effects and do the same thing. Now I could have selected both of these and done them, but we're going to do sunken, and then for background color, instead of background 1, I'm going to use the ellipse. I'm going to get my palette. I'm going to pick that same item. So now if I click off, you see these two items, and what we're going to go for here is these are two pieces of information that the user cannot change. So we're going to kind of work that way, that identify that those are a little bit special. So all right, the next thing that we want to do is click the for the date format for date joined. All right, so right now it is there's an input mask. So if we come here to data, do you see the input mask is here? But what we're going to want is a date picker. And so the date picker is when that little calendar comes up and they can just move through the calendar and pick it. But you can't have both the input mask and the date picker. What'll happen is the input mask will override it and be the overriding item. So we want to get rid of that input mask so we can pull up the date picker. So I'm going to click on that and remove it. So if you look at page 503, It says in A, second paragraph in A, it says the data cannot be entered in both ways. Thus, the input mask will take precedence over the date picker. The input mask requires date to be typed in a particular way. The date picker requires that the data be selected. You can't do both. So the input mask takes precedence. So we wanted to get rid of that. So now what we're going to do is all we did was remove that input mask. If I switch over to form view, do you see automatically the date picker shows up, that I can just click on it and find a date. So that's all we had to do there, was get rid of that. So now what we're going to do is we want to prevent people from changing this member ID. You know, they're de-emphasized, they look different, but really the user still can get to those fields. And so it's kind of confusing that you can get to it, but you really aren't supposed to change it. So we're going to work with two different properties. One is the lock property, and then the other is the enabled. And then we're going to look at tab stop. So locked determines whether or not data can be entered. A value of no in a locked means that data can be entered. A value of yes means that the field is locked. The enabled property is stronger than the lock, and if enabled is no, it cannot be entered or copied. The default is that bound controls are unlocked and enabled. Okay, meaning that you can enter it and you can copy it. So if a field is locked, you can still use the tab key to get to it. So we want to, when we lock it, we want to take the tab stop away from it, so when the person's tabbing around the form, they don't ever go to that field, right? So we want to make sure we're in layout view, right? So it looks like form view, but we have the little orange boxes. We want to click on member ID. I validate that text box, member ID. We want to be in layout view, the data tab, and then we need to find where it says locked. Okay, do you see where it says no? I'm just going to use my down arrow and pick yes. Yes, it's locked. And then if I go to the other tab, tab stop is set to yes. We're going to change that to a no. So now this field cannot be tabbed to, and it's locked. We're going to do the same thing for member name. We're going to click on that, and since I'm still on the other, I'm going to go ahead and do the tab stop no, flip over to data and say locked yes. So those kind of go hand in hand, that you lock it and that you take the tab stop away. Okay, so now I'm going to save it. If I go to form view and I tab, do you see it's not even going to those boxes, right? But I can still get to it and copy it because we didn't, enable was not changed. Enable is still set to yes, which means I can copy it, but I can't change, I can't do anything else with it. Alright, so I'm going back to layout view, and I want to work with this header. Do you see it, the header, this part up here, it and I click it and see form header. It takes the name that you give to the form as the head, the top of the form, and that's usually not a very meaningful name. So we want to kind of fix that. So we're in layout view for the form add member, and we want to double click on the title, right here, form add member. So double clicking selects it and gets me into where I can edit the data, and I'm going to change it to add a new member. Now this doesn't do anything to change the form name. It's still the same form name. This is just the label that we see. Okay, so then I stretched the box so it fits. All right. the next thing that we want to do is on Design tab, we want to find where it says Logo. So I'm going to do Logo. We need to navigate to where our files were downloaded, and we need to find the Red Bluff, what's it called? Yes, it's sometimes these, hold on, let me find. So it's, for me, it was in this homework folder, and then here it is, the Red Bluff logo. So I'm going to click on that and say OK. It's going to put that there. It's going to put it right on top of the new member. So we want to click to the right because these are bound together, and I'm going to just hit delete. It's going to delete that that control that was there, and now I can change where it is and the size of it. Whoops, let me undo that. So we're going to size this, and then we're going to move it to the right of the logo. To the name. Sorry, we're going to move the logo to the right of the name of the form. We're going to go ahead and save it. And I'm going to go ahead, well, let's do the date and time and background color, and then I'm going to stop this. So go Design tab. We're going to find where it says date and time. We're going to click on that, and we're going to decide what we want to include. Include date, include time, OK. So now we get to the right, we get the date and the time, that current date and time. We want to make sure now we're in the form header, so check that here, and we're going to change the background so it looks the same. So background color, so we're going to go Format, use the ellipses, bring our palette up and match it, right? So that white background. So now I'm going to save it. Just look at it in form view, and the header does not appear any, like it's all seamless. All right, so I'm going to stop this movie here and then pick up with looking at a footer, because when you build a form in design, with the wizard, it puts a header but it doesn't put a footer. So we'll start the next movie on that on page 507. All right, guys, thanks.